Well, currently using the Artisan 100. This is my main workhorse for when I'm touring. It's one of the main amps that I use when I'm recording. It's been great. I've been using these for about 4 years now. And the Artisan is really good. It's a very simple 2-volume bass, mid, treble, the 4 voicings, and the presence. It's very, very straightforward amp. I'm not a big fan of amps that have a lot of extra accessories and extra controls. Pretty much if you can't get it done with volume and 3 EQs, you should maybe not play guitar.
The first time I plugged into like an artist or like the Series 1s, I was like, oh my God, I don't need anything with this. I can just play. And what I love about them too is being on the road, they're dependable. I've never had one fail on me on the road. And that is saying a lot because, last year we did over 200 shows on the same amp. And it comes down to, it's reliable. I always know it's gonna sound good when I plug it in, and it's inspiring to play.
The reason for the switch to Blackstar was the quality and the sound of the amp, the tone of the amp. I remember we were in LA recording with Ozzy, the Scream album, some 7 years ago, and I kept hearing the hype about this new amp company called Blackstar, and I said, well, if the guys can get us an amp down in the studio, and we'll try it out and give you feedback. And it went from that to basically ending up recording all the rhythm parts on that album with a Series 1 200 watt head.
Around 13 years ago, I had a little studio room in Birmingham, and they came to visit me with, I think it was the prototype of the Artisan 30, and it just made me want to change in that instant, really. Blackstar amps are perfect for my sort of music because they're just great British valve amps. They're just very simple, it's a great design, and they sound great, obviously. Yeah.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hey there,
Good to
Steve.
see you.
Hey there. And everybody, ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages out there, and whoever's tuned into the Facebook channel of Bajaao.com. My name's Sean, and join me in welcoming Mr. Steve Marks from Blackstar Amplification. And I mean, with that blistering introduction, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you got playing guitar and
Yeah, hi Sean. Hi
journey.
everybody. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for having me. I'm coming from a town called Birmingham in the UK, the home of giants like Black Sabbath and some of the guys from Led Zeppelin. It's a pretty cool place. But Blackstar, yes, here we are. But you ask about my playing, Sean. Wow, I think I've been playing guitar for about 27 years now.
That's all.
I started out fairly late on, considering I was really into football for the longest time. My father was a big football fanatic, and he sort of pushed me to join teams and stuff, which I really, really loved. And it wasn't until I was sort of young that I actually went to, I guess the ingredient which made me want to start playing was my father and my mother took me to the cinema to watch a movie called Back to the Future. And that was the point where I saw someone up on a big screen playing some great guitar, and that film inspired me, I guess. And it was always with me. I always had a classical guitar around the house, but football came first. And it wasn't until I was 16 that I started playing properly and did my first concert with a band and so on at college. Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's pretty interesting though. Back to the Future. That's
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah, I had no idea. I did have an idea about music. I enjoyed particular bands and particular styles of music, but I'd say it was about 1985 when the guitar seed was planted, and about 1989 when the music seed was planted, when I really started enjoying music, most notably rock music, really. Yeah.
Awesome. That's really interesting, and I'm sure a lot of the guys out here might have some more questions to add on to that. That was a great time to be able to like pick up the guitar and the instrument, I'm sure. Yeah. And why don't you lead us into that with some of the journey with Blackstar? I believe that you're the training head and the product specialist, so I believe you're
Yeah.
in charge of
Yeah,
training.
well, actually, funny you mentioned that, Sean. Yesterday was my 8-year anniversary. I've been with Blackstar for 8 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And it's been an amazing journey. But prior to that, I was working in music retail stores here in the UK for approximately, I would say, about 10 years or so. I worked in one independent store, which was a fantastic experience. It really taught me a lot, and I became manager of that store. And then I moved on to a larger chain store here in the UK and became the manager of the acoustic guitar department, because although I love playing electric guitar, I also really adore playing acoustic, and I'm a singer-songwriter as well. So I gravitate to picking up a guitar and writing songs on acoustics a lot of the time. So that's what led me to there. And throughout my journey, working in those music stores, ultimately, you become very good friends with the representatives from the company. And I knew a lot of the guys at Marshall very well. I knew the Fender guys and everyone else in this industry who are amazing people that you become friends with along the way. But I was very close to one of the guys from Marshall. And one day he came in to see me and to tell me that he'd left Marshall and he'd started a new company with some friends from Marshall. And that company was Blackstar, and it was brand new. And I still remember to this day my first time trying a Blackstar amp. It was an Artisan with a HT dual pedal in front of it, and it was just an astonishingly amazing tone. And I fell in love with the amps at that point, and that was back in 2007. And the journey which leads me to the Blackstar job, if you like, was I really enjoyed demoing products. I really enjoyed talking to customers and getting the right product for them. And my friend from Blackstar came in to see me one day, and I was demonstrating a looping pedal. Everybody knows loopers, right? They're fantastic pedals that allow you to loop and record and play over the top. I was demonstrating one of those, and also a vocal harmony pedal. So I never shied away from demonstrating in store. I used to really love it. And one day he came in to see me, and I was demonstrating the harmony pedal and the looper, and I had an audience of around 5 or 6 people watching, and 3 of them bought the products. Three people said, "We'll take one." And he came up to me and said, I really want you to work for Blackstar. And that's when the opportunity came in 2013 to join Blackstar. And it's been an amazing journey. I've been all around the world, 21 countries so far, and made a lot of friends and talked to a lot of people about these amazing products.
Awesome. That's amazing. 21 countries training and explaining and taking these amps on the road.
Yeah. So to come from quite humble beginnings, when I was a youngster, I worked in factories. I was a metal worker. To come from those sort of humble beginnings to standing in some of the most amazing countries in the world, looking up at skylines from all around. It's just been a great journey, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do. And I'm also very, very passionate about it. So
I mean, I think that
keeps me there.
Yeah, I think that's something that all of us have to like kind of pick up to, and it's a great story and inspiring message for everyone who's watching too. I mean, all of us can push, and I mean, music does inspire and give you a reason to kind of wake up and do things.
Yeah.
You also have a band of your own, right? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So all throughout my guitar lifetime, I've played in bands. I've been the lead singer. I've been the rhythm guitar player. I've been the bass player. I've been many things. But a few years ago, a good friend of mine ran an open mic night, they're very popular here. I'm sure they are where you are as well. But people can go to the bar and take their guitar, sing their own songs, or do cover versions. And this friend of mine asked me to go to her open mic, and we started doing a few songs together, and the harmonies were working. We're both singers, we're both guitar players, and people were commenting on that you sound great together. And we started writing some songs, and the band was born. Well, we say a band, but we're actually a duo. We're called Gasoline and Matches. We're kind of a country rock blues crossover sort of sound. We do have a full band, but the majority of all of the writing, all of the producing, all of the money comes from me and my partner Sally, who it's our duo, and we're very fortunate to be doing really well with it. Actually, we've played in the States a couple of times, and been on tour there as well, and toured around the UK. And you can find us on Spotify and YouTube and Facebook. So it's Gasoline and Matches. It's a UK duo, and you'll see me smiling on the picture if you're looking for it. But we're an award-winning country band, which is amazing. We've won Duo of the Year at the British Country Music Association Awards. So we're very fortunate, and we've got some great endorsements and things like that. So it's going really well for us, and it's all done by ourselves with no backing from a label. So
Sure,
yeah.
sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's a great way to do it. I mean, I have to sing for a band myself, and a lot of our musicians and the guys who work here at Bajaao are musicians. So yeah, we kind of have that DIY vibe things. So congratulations on Gasoline and Matches, and most definitely, I'm going to take all of that Spotify, and maybe if you can share like a link on that, at least the YouTube I found. I heard a couple of songs. So I'm definitely going to add that link on our on
Yeah,
this video.
please do. Yeah, we'd love some more followers on Spotify and Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd be more than happy to share some new music with our people.
Thank you.
All right. So let's just dive right into these amps. So we're talking about the duet amps from Blackstar today. I actually happened to see one today in the office here myself. So I just noodled around on that a little bit. But yeah, why don't you just take us deeper into that?
Sure. Yeah. So these are the debut amps, and it's exactly how it says on the box and the name. Debut, your first amplifier. But what's really important to know is that, I mean, hopefully you guys saw me jamming at the beginning, but they sound amazing for a low-cost amplifier. And Blackstar are all about innovation and giving the guitarist the best tools for the job, regardless of price point. You know, just because it's a small amplifier shouldn't mean that it sounds terrible. And I remember when I first started out playing, my first amplifier wasn't that good at all. It sounded terrible, in fact. So the fact that you can get something like this, which is 10 watts, and something like this, which is 15 watts, with some amazing features. They have 2 channels. So you have clean and an overdrive built in there. So you can play some really nice clean stuff from jazz to blues to funk styles. And then the overdrives can go from blues through to high gain, hard rock, metal. So they have EQ control as well on there. So we have Blackstar's proprietary patented infinite shape feature, ISF for short. So infinite shape feature. It's a patented feature, and it's really what makes Blackstar different from everyone else. Because you know, when Blackstar came out in 2007, did the world need another guitar amp? Arguably not. There's many out there. There's many fantastic, legendary brands. But the fact is, we're so passionate as a group of people. We've got so many ideas and so many innovations. That's the key to Blackstar. And infinite shape feature is one of them. So essentially, on an amp like this, if you put the ISF at noon, 12 o'clock, it's going to sound really neutral for every guitar, whether it's a Strat, a 335, a P90 pickup, or a humbucker, a Telecaster, whatever it is, it's going to sound nice. But if you dial the ISF anti-clockwise, so counterclockwise, it starts to sound more like an American amplifier. So things like PV, Mesa Boogie, Fender. It's got a very tight mid and more accent on the highs and tighter low end. Whereas British amps, all the way clockwise, sound more woolly. So things like Marshall, High Watt, Vox, Orange. So they have a more pronounced mid frequency on show with a less tighter low end and less highs. So that's what the infinite shape feature can give you. And it's a really important part of Blackstar's story.
So I think that would really help if somebody has a couple of guitars, or if he actually just wants to have the variation of tone within that. That's quite a wide variation of tone within. So if, say, for example, someone has just maybe you could just like turn that around, just one amp, the guitar that you're using right now, and just show what that kind of.
Yeah, I was going to suggest. So this guitar is a Gordon Smith. It's a custom-made, handmade brand from the UK, but it has a humbucker on here, which I can split the coil so it becomes a single coil, take out half of the magnets. And then here I have a P90. So it's a really versatile instrument for me to do demonstrations with. And that's often really important part of your tone. But if I put on the overdrive again, and if I take the ISF to noon, so straight up the top, I'm going to lower the volume a bit so we can hear more comfortably. Hopefully that's coming through okay. So that's at noon. Now, if I take it all the way over to the UK side, it becomes a much more mid-pronounced. Now, if I take it all the way over to the American side, it becomes a much more tighter focus sound.
For sure.
So
It's a lot
you can
more
get some, yeah, you can get some really interesting sounds, whether it's metal you're looking to play or classic blues. You know, if I was looking to play maybe some early Cream, Eric Clapton style, I would maybe go UK. You know, I'd lower my volume or my gain a little bit. I'd maybe roll my tone back, and I'd have that really nice sort of bluesy sound. Whereas if I wanted to go for more of a metal tone, I would go US, push the gain stage, and it would come across in that sense. So hopefully that's coming across on the feed. The audio on videos like this often sort of can be an issue, but hopefully that's coming across okay.
That's actually quite good, because even with that kind of a lag or whatever else that we could have, I can see a couple of people already pointing out that there's a very clear difference in the sound.
And that can happen on the clean tone as well, specifically. So if I back the gain off, give it a bit more volume as well. There's the UK sound, so it's much more woolly. And then the American is a more glassy, if you like.
More, yeah.
So it's almost like a 60s Vox and a 70s Fender sort of vibe. You know?
It was definitely a very, very clear on the distortion. I mean, you could really tell the saturated vibe, but it was a little bit more on the...
Yeah, you often have to, with Blackstar products, it's always better to experience them if possible, and try them out, because in person you can really feel those differences. Sure. Another cool thing with these amplifiers as well is you've got things like line in and line out, so you can play and practice silently with your headphones. That's really important. Or you could take a cable out to an external PA speaker or a PA system or a mixer, and that will give you even more power, which is fantastic as well. So if you're looking to be louder, you can be if you have a PA. There's also a tape echo delay built in as well, which is really unique for such a product of a cost point, a low cost. And that delay can be a short delay, or it can be a long delay. So I'll just show you that as well. So you could hear the delay is on at the moment. If I shorten it, so I've turned it all the way down, and it almost gives you a little bit of a slap back delay, which could give you an interpretation of a room reverb, you know. But if I turn it up all the way, it gives us a nice ambient. Yeah.
So we had a couple of questions in there while we get that. So someone did ask, does the amp have any effects like delay, which obviously it does, and it has parameters to set to make them longer or shorter. Another question that someone had, talking about, like you said, about the volume and power. Can it be cranked up to full volume without any feedback? Why don't you just explain what that and what kind of parameters actually happen? I mean, we have a couple of beginners in here too. So
yeah, so ultimately with feedback, that generally happens if you're really close to the amplifier, of course, with high output pickups maybe, but with feedback, sometimes you want it there for a feature of your playing, but sometimes you don't want it there. So if it's a single coil guitar, you're more likely to get feedback, but there is a beauty in the single coil. So it's a balancing game that we're always learning as guitar players, as I'm sure most of you guys know. But generally, if I was on a humbucker, so if I was on my humbucker on there, I could crank it and hopefully get a... So it's not feeding back immediately, but there is potential for it to feed back. But it's in a musical sense how you would want it to feed back if you were holding a long sustaining note, for example.
All right.
I can see somebody's asked if they're passive pickups. Yes, they are passive pickups. Yeah.
And Mr. Anirudh has also asked, does it have a USB out too? So I don't think
no, they don't have a USB on these models. So these are the debuts, and it is what it says on the name. It's your first amplifier. It's just to step into the world of amplifiers and to try out different tones with a nice delay built in there as well. But they sound great mic'd up. I'm currently using an Aston Stealth mic in dynamic mode to mic it at the moment. So they sound great mic'd up. If you have a mic and a USB interface, they can work in that sense. Or you could take a line out and there's an emulation of a cabinet, a simulated cab out of the headphone output. So that would work as well.
I think someone's also asked a question about can we play bass through it? Of course, on low volume. I think that
yeah, I mean, if you wanted to play bass through it, it's not really built for it with the I'd say with the frequency of what you get out of a guitar amp. But if you needed to, if you're a guitarist and you had a bass and you needed to just put something through an amplifier at low volumes, will be okay. And it's got quite a nice clean tone to it as well. So you know, so you could get a nice clean bass sound through there as well.
Sweet. I think there's this good question out here. How would you differentiate it from the other models of Blackstar, like the LT Echo or the ID Core?
Yeah, so the LT Echo is a similar design to this. Obviously, this is a cream Tolex with a wine red fret. Everybody loves wine red. But it's we've voiced it slightly different to the LT Echo, but it's around the same size and a similar tone. For something like the ID Core is a more advanced practice amplifier. So these can be used by anyone from beginners to pros. So they have things like USB, they have 12 effects built in there for you to dial in. You can store 6 of your presets. There's 2 cleans, there's 2 crunch, and there's 2 overdrive voices. And yeah, they have a lot more going on. The debut is more of a simple entry level into the world of guitar amps, but also they sound great at such a price point.
No, I think, and it's a really important buy, because the first amplifier, a lot of times since I've been part of Bajaao for a really long time, we've had cases when someone's invested a lot on the guitar and then just said, I'll just buy the cheapest amplifier out there. And then eventually he does not like the guitar. So, or he's like, I think something's wrong. I bought something wrong. And yeah, I think a lot of people might just get dejected with the buy itself. So that first amplifier is just as important as your first electric guitar, according to me.
Absolutely, yeah. Your first amp is so important. As I said earlier in this stream, my first amplifier just sounded terrible. I really struggled with it. And thinking back on it now, it's sort of, if your amplifier doesn't sound that good, it can be detrimental to your playing and you're wanting to plug it in. So having something that sounds great right from the off is awesome. Yeah. I mean, even down to the LT Echo 10, which is tiny. One thing I didn't mention actually is both of these models have 2 speakers.
Okay.
So that's really important. A lot of people with smaller amplifiers expect to see a large speaker here and maybe a medium-sized speaker here. Guitar loudspeakers have a certain frequency that won't accept audio very well, so it will sound like it's almost like that, when you're holding your nose. But these amplifiers are linear speakers, so they're kind of like flat response. They accept all colors of frequencies, so they sound great for guitar, but they also sound great for watching movies, watching YouTube, checking out social media videos, even gaming. So if you're into gaming, you can plug your mobile device straight into these and you've got a little gaming speaker as well as your guitar amp. They sound fantastic for that. As you heard earlier, when I was playing the track through the amplifier, it sounded crystal clear. I'll just put it on again for those that are just joining a little late on in the stream. We'll start with a slightly lower volume, okay? So what I'm using at the moment is a little 3.5mm cable from my phone. So it's a little mini jack. Now hopefully you can hear there, it sounds very clear, very responsive. If I start playing my guitar, I can adjust the volume from the audio here, but I can adjust the guitar volume from the amplifier. So and that's just coming from my mobile device there, if you can see it. So I'm plugging straight into the amplifier. So the audio that you're hearing is coming from the amp. It's quite astonishing. And those linear speakers appear here. So you can see I'm micing one of them here, the other one is here. And within the debut 10, they're actually here and here. So just there and there. So quite amazing, really. Such a small product and they sound fantastic. Would anybody like to hear the 10-watt version?
Yeah, but why not? I think there were a couple of guys who asked a couple of more questions. Maybe we can do that while you want to just like swat.
Yeah, sure.
So the question here is about: is there any big difference between the debut and the Fly 3 as from a beginner's point of view?
So the Fly 3 is compact. It's very, very small, as you know. It's a fantastic amplifier, I must say. We've sold so many around the world. It's very, very popular. But again, it's a slightly different design. Let's do this first. Okay, hopefully that should be all right. So yeah, the Fly is much, much smaller. It's tiny. I mean, if we were looking, it's about half the size of that, about this height and that sort of size. So the Fly 3 is 3 watts. These are 10 and 15. So you're getting a lot more power with more wattage. And that's really important for your technique and your feel of the amplifier and your enjoyment when you play. Taking nothing away from the Fly, whenever I travel around the world, a Fly goes in my suitcase. It has to for me to practice and enjoy. So indeed,
So I think would you say that the Fly was probably a lot better as a portable, as something that you would, like you say, like a vacation, or if you want to travel, or if you're going on a little trip, or
I'd recommend the Fly for anyone, really, any guitar player. And the beautiful thing about the Fly that I realized early on is that lots of professional players use the Fly 3 without having really any close interaction with Blackstar. They simply buy the Fly 3 because it's the best in the market. People like Joe Perry from Aerosmith, Joe Bonamassa, Phil X, who now plays in Bon Jovi, Phil Collin from Def Leppard. They're just 4 people that use the Fly 3 backstage, jamming in their hotel rooms, things like that. So I'd recommend it for anybody. If you were traveling back and forth to lessons as a teacher or a student, the Fly 3 will fit in your rucksack or your bag very easily.
Yep. So I think we've got a couple of guys who sold, and I think a lot of people are saying that they might be looking at the the debut as the one that they might go for. That's good.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's take a quick listen to the 10-watt. Hopefully it's going to come through okay. You see, straight away there, I haven't really touched the EQ, but it's a wonderful tone straight away.
Yeah.
Very crisp. Just wonderful.
That's critical. Yeah, it's critical. Like, again, for the beginners who are going to get these, I mean, they might not have the experience of tweaking the EQ and stuff like that, so they're gonna have to rely on their ears. So the easier they get to that sweet spot might help.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, this is dry without the delay. So if you're into jazz and you roll your tone off and. If you're into funk, keeping it tight. really nice. And then we have delay, so I'll put the delay on. If you keep it short again, we get that nice slap back, which can sound great for the country style, similar to how I play, you know. Sounds great for that. If we open things up, yeah, it already sounds great out the box. It's quite astonishing.
That's
Really
lovely.
nice
Sounds
delay.
really nice.
And then we have the overdrive. Now, the one thing that I love about this amplifier is on the 15, you have gain, volume, you have an EQ as well as your ISF. So you have a single EQ. So all the way rolled off is more bassy, all the way rolled on is more treble. And then you have your ISF as well as that. But on here, it's just ISF. So again, straight down the middle will sound great and neutral for most guitars. If you want it more UK sounding, you turn it clockwise. If you want it more American sounding, you turn it counterclockwise. So on here, there's only one level of overdrive. There's only one level of distortion. There's no gain control. Now, the thing I really like about that is that it teaches, especially beginners, it will teach you how to use the volume on your guitar to back off the gain, which is really important. Not many people, when they're starting out, understand how important tone and volume is. So I'll give you a quick example of that. If I turn the overdrive on, it's a great sound straight away. But if I back my volume off, great sort of mid-gain sound, right? Gain up full. ISF UK. ISF USA. So you can get some instant sounds with just 3 dials that sound amazing, you know?
Right. There's a question, is it good for gigs?
The only way you could use it for gigs, the only way you could go live with it is to use it through a external mixer and PA system. So if you had the correct cable, for example, I've got one here actually. So I'll show you up close what this cable looks like. So hopefully you'll recognize it. But this will be the end that will go out of your amplifier. So it's a mini jack. And the end that would go into a mixer maybe would be 2 stereo cables like that. Sure. Now, when you do that, you can take it through a mixer. And as long as you're going through big speakers, you can turn it as loud as you want.
Yep. That sounds like a plan. A couple of comments. The aesthetics of the amp are top notch. I mean, they do look beautiful. That the wine red is quite a different change and quite welcome with amplifiers, I guess. How does the overdrive sound at full? Was that fully cranked up when you played when the drive was full?
Yes. So just
you don't have gain control right now either. So there's just volume there.
Yeah, just to reiterate, the gain level on the 10 is set.
Yeah.
So when I was playing, just that was maxed out. And that's the reason I was talking about backing off your volume to decrease the gain. So I'll do it again. So when you turn the overdrive on, That's the maximum amount of gain, and it does sustain quite a long time. It's a great sound, but to get a lower gain stage, you need to use your volume, which I think is really great because not many people do. That's on a P90. If I go to my humbucker. Yeah.
Yep. That'll definitely come handy. I mean, instead of relying a lot on your pedals or changing volumes on amps, and especially when you're playing live, adding some
I
dynamic.
mean, you can see I'm just going direct. I just have a wireless receiver and transmitter, so there's no pedals involved at all. These are the sounds from the amp. Sounds fantastic. They work off a mains cable, so like a standard 3-pin mains kettle style lead. So yeah, there's no battery powered on these.
That was a question out here.
Yeah.
All right. I think maybe what we could do is there's a question about the ISF working and how versatile is it on the clean. Maybe we could check that out on the 10 watt too. We heard the
sure.
Yeah.
So if we go back to clean, so hopefully that's on the UK side now. So hopefully you can hear it's a lot darker. So if I was playing sort of maybe some Beatles stuff, you know. It's a lot more of a darker sound. There's more open mids. And if I roll to the UK side, it becomes a much more sort of
a little more ring to it altogether.
It's thinner, yeah. So if I was to play something like Pink Floyd, you know, someone like Dave Gilmour would have used an old Fender. That sort of thing. So it does work on the clean as well. But ultimately, when you hear it in real life, it's fantastic. It's very hard to get it across through a microphone, you know, sometimes.
For sure. No, I think a couple of people did ask whether you could come and check that out. We can definitely have them. So all of you guys who are watching this and are interested, you can come down to the Bajaao office in our little lovely studio here and jam out on these when we want to.
Yeah, do it.
Any other questions going on here? There's some love for Blackstar amps already. Can't take my eyes off those beauties. That's great. So now, if you have any questions, launch away. I think we seem to be kind of done with the questions around.
I think somebody's just put there, does it have support of battery power?
Yeah.
It doesn't, know. It works off mains only.
Yeah. Okay, I think that sounds good. Is there anything else you would like to cover on these amps or anything that you think that we would
That's it really, yeah. So a great clean tone, a great overdrive tone. You get more control over the gain stage on the 15. But with the 10, you need to use your volume to back off low gain. So it's a set gain level. They both have the Blackstar ISF infinite shape feature, which is very important. It's a patented feature, and it allows you to dial in American or British style tones, but it doesn't have to be completely left, completely right. It can be somewhere in between, which suits your ears. So that's important. On the 15, you get an extra tone control. So there's a little bit more tone going on. And we have a built-in tape echo delay as well, which can be adjusted in its time and level simultaneously. There's an MP3 stereo line in for both, so you can play music through here as well as gaming audio, watching movies, watching YouTube, anything like that you can do through these because the speakers are linear full range. And yeah, they both have that feature, and it's fantastic. They're just great products for a good price, and they sound amazing for anybody looking for a small amplifier.
Lovely. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, Steve. I hope you've had a good time clearing some of these questions out for these boys out here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, is there reverb built in, Mr. Forb? I think you can just clear that last one out, and if you could just repeat that out. But
That's
yeah,
okay. So did somebody say why would I recommend Blackstar over any other
yeah,
competitors?
yeah, that was one question.
Um, well, I mean, I've been in this industry almost 20, just over 20 years now, and there's a lot of fantastic brands out there. Let's not beat around the bush, and there's some amazing products. The one thing about Blackstar, and you have to question this, is we're only 13 years old, and we are one of the top 5 selling amplifier amps around the world. And there's a reason for that. And that reason is we put a lot of passion, a lot of innovation into our products. And for me personally, yes, they're one of the best amp brands in the world. I would feel very, very confident with anybody that wanted to sit down next to me and play using the most expensive amps in the world. I would feel very confident using Blackstar of any level. And the important thing to realize is the guys that design the high-end stuff, the really expensive professional gear, those guys design Debut. They're the same team of engineers that designed our high-level stuff, design these as well. And that's why they sound good. So I would highly recommend Blackstar, definitely.
Right. All right. A lot of us, a lot of the guys out here are thanking you for a detailed description and a really informative demo. So it was lovely talking to you, Steve. And everybody who's tuned in, do check out some of his music from Gasoline and Matches. I'll post the link out there too. Until next time we see you, Mark, Steve, I'm gonna
It's okay. It's
say
okay.
goodbye. I'm gonna say goodbye,
No
and we're
problem.
gonna catch up with you soon. Yeah,
No
you have a
problem.
nice day.
You too. Thank you, everybody, for watching and joining this stream. Have a great evening.
Yeah,
We're only around about 3:30 in the UK at the moment in the
yeah,
afternoon, so it's still nice and early. But guys,
sure, sure.
or I can come over and visit you guys, and we'll
Yeah.
have a good time, talk about music, and
Yeah, but let's just hope for all for this pandemic and the lockdown and all of that. What have you been up to? I mean, since we don't
um,
really have time slot time.
that's okay. So when the pandemic came along in March, um, Blackstar as a company, we're very proud of this. We stepped up our game massively. So our marketing team, which I'm part of, we started working together very, very strongly as a team. Every day, having meetings, talking about what we can do, how we can work through this, and we had a strategy that really paid off for us. We've become more popular than ever as a brand, which is fantastic. And all those long days and long nights working, doing live streams, doing things like this, which is really enjoyable for me and for us as a brand, have put us in a really good place, and we're very proud of that. And I must say, it's since March, it's absolutely gone in a flash. It's been very quick for me because I've been very, very busy. But it's been very enjoyable at the same time. I've learned how to do live streams and how to be online around the world like this in my home. It's been a really big learning curve, and
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we should all take away from. We've all learned a little bit from this, and once again, it's been a pleasure. And I have one more thing to do. We have a special thing that we have decided to give away a prize for someone who's got the most amount of questions and kind of engaging questions. And we have a person, Mr. Anirudh Radhakrishnan. I hope you're still on the stream right now. You've been picked by our backend team right now for some of the most interesting and informative, or at least intriguing questions out there. So we'll get in touch with him, and he's going to be getting the 10-watt debut. So
One of those.
yeah, yeah. So he's
Wow,
going to have a little
fantastic.
bit of a fun time there. So congrats, Anirudh. And once again, Steve, you have a lovely second half of your day, and I'm gonna see you soon.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for the love, and be safe, be kind, and I'll see you very, very soon. Thank you so much.
See you.
Bye bye.